And good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 99 of New York Red Bulls Discussion Group, the podcast. I'm Garry Redmond. Greetings and salutations at your service. We got a lot to talk about this day. 3 games in, 7 points, and everyone is feeling in a very good mood. Of course, Lanre and Mark and Nicholas here with me tonight. We're going to talk about the doings of what happened in over in Harrison, in which everyone had a good time, laser light shows and everything else. It was a home opener, except the rain basically almost made a mess of things. And then right after that, we're going to talk about our next road trip, which is going to be a tough one for the boys in red. We're talking about the Columbus Crew, a team that we haven't beaten at that place since 2015, since 2021, and the last win before that was in 2015. So that's quite a fortress. And we're going to talk how Lanre is going to break down how they're going to have a chance to walk away with 3 points. Of course, naturally, it's all about the standings, schedules, and predictions. That's the dangerous part, of course, on our show. And, of course, all your comments and your hot takes will go with it. Now, if for some reason, if you missed the live show, which is happening right now, even as we speak, you can always catch the recording on our YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, tell your friends and everybody else about our podcast and like and subscribe that so we can be able to get more views. And you can be alerted on the very next new episode that drops. Of course, we have goals.tv. We're going to start loading those episodes very shortly. And, of course, our old place over in Spotify.com. All of those episodes get loaded on the very next day. And, of course, we continue to say this all the time. And when we mean this, absolutely, truly, is because this is your show. This was designed by the group, for the group, from the group. So if you want to make this among the best soccer-related podcasts out there within Major League Soccer, please, if you have any suggestions or if you have questions or anything else, please drop us a line at Red Bull, RBDG, the podcast at gmail.com. That's RBDG, the podcast at gmail.com. So, my nephew, who helps us out with the graphics and everything else, wanted to, suggested something since we happen to have a blood feud with our friends over in the Bronx, NYCFC. Well, this was an absolute perfect weekend, right? DC United, well, they didn't win. They were tied, 2-2, of course, with Montreal. NYCFC took a gut punch from Portland in their home opener in the 90th minute. Okay. So he suggested something. Now he also does a little DJing on the side. So he made this little suggestion. Anytime when our enemies lose and we win, we're going to blow a DJ horn like so. This is our way of celebrating a little bit, saying that we won the weekend. And so, so you want to tell your friends, all about it, how, especially if they're NYCFC fans, hey, they may have won the cup, but look at it this way, folks. We won the weekend. Hashtag, we won the weekend. So here you go, right? So that's a little, so this weekend was absolutely sublime. Okay, yeah, we all got drenched in the rain and everything else, but the team won today. So I'm going to bring in, of course, my cohorts, and of course,
so you want to tell your friends, all about it, how, especially if they're
someone's listening in the background. They need to put that on mute. Thank you very much. And so
Rookies.
Mark Coates,
So
Lanre Badmus, and of course, the one and only Nicholas Leanos, who braved the weather and everything else and took jello shots and the whole 9 yards and still got the thread done in the recap. Well done, sir. Gentlemen, how was your weekend? I trusted it was magnificent despite the weather.
Absolutely. It was absolutely worth getting, super mega drenched in the rain and having to walk through puddles and having to come home super late and
drenched, drunk. What's the difference?
Yeah, and also you'll hop right back in the shower all over again. It was worth it.
Drying off
1,000,000%
for the weekend.
worth it.
Come on.
Yeah, it was fun at the tailgate trying to stay underneath the tents and keeping them from blowing away. But the game was worth being there for. That's for sure.
Well, I one thing that I like about home openers is that you get a chance to see many of the folks in the group that you speak to on the off season electronically. You see them live and in person. They come up and see you and say, hey, especially in the tailgates and stuff like that. I don't know about you guys, but that was a great feeling. It was great seeing you guys there. It was great seeing everyone Not everybody stopped by, of course, at the press box because it was wet. It was just. I mean, the team basically apologized to everybody, in the media, because there was no place for us to go. But we all hung out deep and did our work and everything else. But it was great, seeing most of you guys. Let's talk about the team, fellas. Okay, now it's time for us to get to business. Okay, 3 games, 7 points. However, and I do mean however, there's a wrinkle of we're not there yet. I see a lot of people anointing this team as contenders, and yet I'm going to be that guy and tell every single one of you guys, especially you guys in the listening audience right now, slow your roll. Tap the brakes. We ain't there yet. I know, Lanre, you screamed about the word delusional. You're giddy with excitement and everything else. Yeah, including Chelsea, they won today. So you're going to be absolutely obnoxious tonight. So go right ahead, man. Go ahead. Try to convince me why I shouldn't tap the brakes here. Why you first, man, because you was going to come at me tonight. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Come on.
You ready, man?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. All right, let's get it, man. All right. So I think that you should be able to start to believe in this team a little bit. Why? Okay, we won a home opener. When was the last time we did that? 2020. What was it? 2020?
Yeah.
The COVID year, literally right before everything shut down.
Right.
And obviously that season wasn't the best. We were under completely different management. But now, the way this club plays now, we got Emil Forsberg, who's looking like, dare I say, the league MVP candidate this early on in the season. He's already transformed our midfield. Coach Schwartz, putting him in the number 10 role, going to the 4-2-3-1. That was a brilliant move by him. He's a lot. I think he's a lot better operating in the number 10 role as opposed to.
If only you can see the looks of the faces of your co-hosts right now. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah. And Elias is actually looking like a dangerous striker. Lewis Morgan is rounding back to goal scoring form after a really difficult 2023. With all his injuries. Edelman and Amaya look like beasts in the holding midfield. Everything is clicking right now. This club has an identity. We have a style of play that's actually nice to watch. It's actually aesthetically pleasing, and we have not been able to say that about this team, I don't think, since 2018. So I think we reserve the right to dream a little. And especially, another thing, Noah Isla, our new number 3 center back, the way he's already taken Andres Reyes' starting spot, and he's already MLS Team of the Week last week, and that kid is brilliant. He's looking like a steal already. So I think we have every single right to dream. I know it's early. It's only 3 games in, but I am ready to start sounding the horn that we could go pretty far this year, at least farther than we have in recent years.
All right. I'm going to hold back my judgment until after you guys, the rest of you guys have your say. Mark, you're next.
I'm trying not to laugh, man. I really am. I like what John Emerald said. We should be happy. You know what? He's absolutely 100% right. We should be happy. This is a much better look than we have seen in years. Pre-show, we were talking about the aforementioned year that we shall not mention again. That was the last time this team looked dangerous and looked aesthetically pleasing, to borrow Lanre's word. But I'm not ready to say we're top 3 material. Maybe we are. I think that we should enjoy the ride. We should enjoy the fact that we have 7 points. We have beaten teams. We finally won in the ugly kits. I mean, there's a lot of positives that have come out of this. All right. Obviously, getting Forsberg was huge, and everybody has said the same thing. Having a center back who can thread passes like Noah can, it's wonderful. It's a beautiful thing to watch, and I like seeing Reyes on the bench because Reyes is a red card in transit. I mean, it's nice, but there are holes in this team. And we know there are holes in this team.
Finally, common sense. Continue.
Thank you.
Oh, it's like that now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Listen, listen.
I warned you guys this season that was going to be very critical on this team.
Here comes our problems. We played against teams that weren't at 100%. Okay. Yeah, we didn't have JMI. Okay. What happens if we have to rely on the other Neelis and we have to rely on Duncan for the rest of the season? We're in trouble.
Yikes.
These are not quality starting right back and left back guys. All right. Duncan has had his moments. I've watched him at Red Bull too. Okay. I thought he was going to progress. He got himself a contract. He got himself over to Europe. And guess what? He's back with us. Why? Because he wasn't getting it done over there. You know, obviously it wasn't as good as they thought he was. So he's back with us. Is this guy supposed to be starting? I don't think so. But we've talked about it last year. We start who we have. As much maligned Tom Barlow. The reason Tom Barlow was a starting forward on our team is because when you turned around, there was nobody else to put in. All right.
We didn't have enough bodies, but
yeah.
Continue.
I mean, we had Corey Burke, you know, and we'll talk about him later. Because
he was robbed.
Let's not go there. All right. He was about 4 feet off sides on that goal he scored. And on the one he should have scored, that was a great dribble in the box, but then the weak shot right at the keeper. I'm like, you have the keeper laying on the ground. Elevate the damn ball. You know, this is a guy who's played for years in MLS. I expect more. If you're going to be a bench player, you got to have the wherewithal to come in and score when you have your opportunities. And he didn't get it done. And, you know, we talked about Amaya. Amaya is turning into an unbelievable player. This guy has elevated his game in the first 3 games. And I seen him play at this level with 2.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it with the first team. It was always, but now he's got Forsberg. You know, it's like, okay, now let's go. You know, the weather had a lot to do with why we didn't have as good a hookup between the midfield in our game. But the other 2 games, you saw the midfield move the ball. You saw us possess the ball and keep them. Like, when in the last 5 years has this team been comfortable with possession? We haven't been.
No.
But now suddenly. So, yeah, there's a lot to be optimistic about. There's a lot to be hopeful about. And there was a post we saw came out about an hour or so ago. I know it's wishful thinking at this point.
Let's not bring that up just yet.
Right.
Let's wait until
like that's still the problem. We still have these positions where, you know, Van Zier's out, so Manuel's operating as a lone striker. He was serviceable. I still don't see this guy as being. He's still the milk carton, as Garry likes to say. I don't see him. And if we have 3 guys that they can't score, our midfield is going to have to carry the load. And people are going to start to figure us out come, I don't know, a month or so from now.
All right.
And, of course, Saturday we're going to find out because Columbus is no slouch.
Okay,
we'll
talk about that.
Yeah,
we'll talk about Columbus in the back with Lanre.
Yeah, we have a right to be happy. We should be happy.
Lanre breaks that down for that team.
Yeah.
Nick, before we bring into the replays, and they're pretty limited, and my apologies to everyone. MLS didn't give us the replay of Forsberg's first ever goal with Major League Soccer, which was a converted penalty kick. Sorry about that. We've been able to get the other 2, but we'll talk about that later. Nick, you were, you know, cranking your head left and right as you were hearing Lanre and Mark. You did the game thread. You were very detailed, by the way, on certain aspects of it. All right, focus on the stuff that made you scratch your head toward the second half of the game.
Duncan. Kyle Duncan.
Yeah.
What was he doing? Now, the whole right, there was a lot of things you had to be questioning. What are you doing, Duncan? What are you doing, Duncan? That foul, Duncan. Why are you reaching for that ball, Duncan? What are you doing, Duncan? You had to be you had to go back to that question all the time. That was one problem. We stopped. We got the final third passing to me was very bad. The whole second half, the whole first half, and the link up to the forwards was bad. the few times that Manuel did touch the ball, I think he only had like 15 touches in the whole game. He was very effective, but we're never going to win anything unless if we have Vanzier, Manuel, Corey Burke being useless. We can't. It's not going to happen. We're not going to win with this. We got to get somebody. It's
My
not
turn.
happening anytime.
Yep, my
Yeah.
turn. I agree in part of what you said, Lanre.
Mhm.
This team is playing much better at a whole. Okay. When you have someone like Forsberg, who is pretty much as advertised, he's definitely made the difference as far as the movement on the ball. Coach Sandro has been a disciple of possession and how to maintain possession where you're keeping the defense off the ball. We haven't seen that in a long time, and it's very lovely to watch. Okay. You can't win a game without the ball. But going to what Mark said, we played 3 opponents. Each of those guys had injuries. Dallas had the worst. So all of those games, at least to my, to my expectations, were winnable. Every single one of them. Okay. We should have been talking about maybe 9 points, not just 7. Okay. 9. Okay. All 9. Now, some will say, hey, I think you're being a little too harsh. No, absolutely not. The expectations to me hasn't changed with this squad. Win the game in front of you. And when you do win the game in front of you, win it. I feel that this team is talented enough to do just that. Don't tell me every single one of you, okay, were holding your collective breaths when Andre Reyes hit the pitch, okay? Everybody was going nuts. Everyone was like, why? Why did you sub this guy in? He's a red card waiting to happen. Maybe he's able to step his game. Burke, somehow, still on the milk carton. Vanzier, still on the milk carton. Okay. Elias Manuel, he's working his way out of it. Still on the milk carton. What did I say this season? Right, Lanre? These guys have to show me, okay, that they've improved. They have to show me that at least they belong on the pitch. And so far, with the exception of Burke on that game, he can be a super sub. How do I know? But super subs, they decide games. They're the guys that, okay, they got to keep it. Defenses have to keep an eye on him, okay, because once he gets the ball, he runs downhill. That's probably his own trait that he does run downhill. Shooting, he's what's the word? What was the phrase I used? He's got 2 left feet when it comes to shooting. When it comes to shooting boots, hopefully, I hope a coach takes him on the side, okay. And I do mean a coach here in Harrison and not in Kingston, Jamaica. I mean, pulls him over to the side and go, look, dog, you're a forward. Remember, we need you to shoot the ball. We need you to shoot effectively. He almost bagged one, except he was too close to the keeper. I'm not gonna rag on him for that. He was ready to shoot once the ball was near his toes. He was ready to pull the trigger. But we'll see how this goes. Now, as far as John, I know you're out there. Okay, you want people to be happy. I want you to be happy, but at the same time, I want you to be realistic. Okay, because this conference, in case you haven't noticed, everybody bulked up. Every team bulked up. Okay, including us. Who do you guys got the bench in case any of those guys get hurt? Any of them? I'm waiting. Okay. All these guys are good. I mean, remember, we faced off squads that beat us with their bench. I'm not gonna waste my starters on you guys. We know you suck. Someone throw my second string and third string out there looking for a cup of coffee, and they somehow beat us. I will say this about his predecessors. At least they got him ready to play. Okay. Right now, Troy Lesesne, he went off to a better team. Hey, They got a forward. Benteke. I would love a kill my firstborn, if I had one, to bring that boy over here. Bring that dude over here. He's a baller. And he's going to make DC United go. Plus, they got a good squad. So, yes, I'm happy. 7 points out of 3 games. Satisfied. This is great. But let's put it in perspective. I'm not here to bash heads or anything else. I'm not here to basically walk around with a big pail of cold water and throw it on your guys' faces. No, that's Miggy's job. He does it very well. That's Miguel's job. But I want fans to understand. No, I want fans to really understand that death is questionable.
Listen, like I said, we've got a lot of reasons to be hopeful, and I think that the whole mindset of the team has changed with Sandro coming in as a new coach. Do I think that we're running off to, as Miguel would say, win the league? I think so. Not yet. There's holes. I mean, but it's been fun to watch.
Oh yeah,
the first 2 games at home were fun, but this was great. Yeah, and I think like Nicholas mentioned, some of the link up play. I think part of that also had to do with the weather, because it wasn't like they were tearing us up either. While the field wasn't horrible, but it was good.
Speaking of, okay, this is one of the highlights that basically illustrated your point, Mark. Let's just throw this up there for everyone to see.
Season just pressing and having that being the only club in the bag, and I think they've shown glimpses of that tonight. The conditions have made it a little bit more difficult.
Ball slipped through from Elias Manuel into Emil Forsberg and Morgan!
Starts from Amaya, the quick release, lovely in behind, but you can see Forsberg is looking across the line the whole time, and from there,
and there you go. Okay, if that wasn't the most prettiest goal you ever seen, and you was able to see it live, I can't, I don't know what to say, but that got the fans off their feet despite the rain, because it was so liquid, it was ridiculous. But in the second half, something that the coach alluded to, there were mistakes, big ones, the type that drives coaches nuts. In particular, anybody remember this free kick by Mr. Jesus Ferreira?
Arena holds its breath. It's Ferreira. Fabulous. Glorious goal. That's a super goal from a superior Major League Soccer player. Jesus Ferreira gets FC Dallas back into the realm of relevance. And how?
If you're going to find your way back into a match, you have to take every opportunity on the road. And the wall splits here. If you take a close look, you can see Ferreira puts it in between the Red Bull back 5. They've got 5 in the wall, but they...
Yeah, that was the one thing that Sandro Schwartz was livid about during the press conference. And most of you guys didn't see it, but he was very disappointed how it seemed that they were switched on in the first half and then they switched off in the second. I mean, if you want to consider yourself one of the best, a good team in this conference, in this league, you can't have that happen. You really can't, because if you're going to do things like that with FC Dallas, how are you going to react? How are you going to react when you're dealing with Columbus, who punishes teams that make mistakes? You all know this, okay? That's something that that's something that was a concern, and it was brought up, of course, naturally, by the press corps, saying, okay, and he didn't mince words. He said we were a little tentative on the ball in the second half. Ouch. I mean, he wants to praise the guys, but that can't happen. That can't happen where you literally had your foot on the opponent, and you're supposed to be root. Most teams around the world, they finish games. Well, the Red Bulls did finish the game, but letting your opponent in just like that, and it's such an ease like that. That that set him off, Nicholas, and I noticed you wrote that on the in the thread that was it was inexcusable. You can't do that.
I couldn't tell who it was that moved first because I couldn't where I'm right in front of the wall and the goal was right in front of me. I couldn't tell who was taking it. I knew Ferrer was taking it. I couldn't see if Noah moved first or
it was Noah.
I think, or it was
Noah that turned sideways. That's why.
Who was next to him? Who was next to him?
I didn't see, but
I think it was Manuel. Though. I think it was
Noah's that tall. So, but that was why Cornell was going off on him. After the goal.
So,
I mean, because you have a wall of 5 guys, that ball should be stopped. And
precisely
later on when Reyes was subbed in, and they had another shot, Reyes
in the face,
off the chest, or off the face. It was like that. That if that's the only mistake Noah's made in 3 games, I'll forgive him, because otherwise he's phenomenal.
That's fine, but he can definitely pass the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah, listen, it's listening. I had the one earbud in watching the game, and I'm listening to Red Bull Radio, and Steve Jolly was all over it saying, we haven't had a guy like him that could pass. I'm like, yeah, okay, Steve's. I love Steve. But Steve had that ability to break lines too, and we haven't had a guy like that in years. Who can thread the ball.
That's Jolly himself, and that's probably he's so high on Ellie.
Oh, he loves him. He absolutely loves him, and I was like, and just in watching him in the first few games, and we were all worried that he wasn't going to have his green card and start, and the team surprised us by having him here. So that's
I'm hearing so if you like Ellie so much, wait until you see Gengar. I'm like, oh boy, I'm hearing some big dudes about Gengar. I'm hearing some good about that. Did I say Gengar?
I don't care how his name is.
Pokemon Gengar.
Gengar.
DG. I mean, I've been a fan with that last name. It's not getting out of me. DG. This is the name.
So
a little bit. Listen, a little bit of cleanup here. Basically, the one, like I said, the one replay you guys didn't get to see, of course, was Forsberg getting his first goal in Major League Soccer. And that was his 123rd goal in club play over the course of his career. Morgan, that his goal that happened in the 50 minute, that was his second in the MLS season. That's a 23rd of his career. If one guy we would love to see him get going, it's him. The connection between Forsberg and Morgan is looking quite nasty right now. I'm liking to see that. The assist for Forsberg for Morgan's own was his first in New York. Carlos Coronel was working on a clean sheet until that mistake from that Ferreira, and he earned his 41st career win with the Red Bulls. And with the 7 points, and this is probably the reason why everyone has to be happy, through 3 matches, started the 2024 season, Lanre is tied for the most points earned through 3 matches in franchise history. That has happened 4 times in this history, in 2004, 2007, 2015, and as you mentioned, 2020. Since 2015, New York has posted a 113, 21, 28 when scoring the first goal of the season. And now New York is unbeaten in their last 4 matches. So there are some good things here from that home win. But then let's talk about Columbus and why. And I gave Lanre the assignment about the Columbus Crew. The good news is that Columbus and Houston are playing right now. They're playing tonight for a Champions Cup league match. But that's where the good news ends. Lanre, take it away.
All right. Well, as most of us know, Columbus are the reigning MLS Cup champions. They won their 3rd cup in franchise history just last season by beating LAFC. Well deserved. And they retained most of that championship starting 11, namely Cucho Hernandez, who was in the running for MLS Golden Boot. He's been electric ever since he came over from Watford, at the time when they were still in the Premier League. They signed Diego Rossi for Fenerbahce. He's a former LAFC player. They signed him. They still got Darlington Nagbe, running the
He's
midfield.
basically, he's the stir. He's the straw that stirs the drink for that franchise. As he goes, they go.
Literally the engine. He's the definition of a leader and a captain, and he's one of the greatest midfielders in MLS history. They got Aiden Morris. He's a young stud. You got Patrick Schulte, who in goal, who's gotten so good. They got rid of Eli Room mid-season last year.
Which was a
and
shot,
Yaya
right,
Boa
guys?
as well.
I mean, I thought he had anchored that position down. The next thing you know, gone.
Yeah,
I mean, this
just
guy,
like that.
just
Here
like
today,
that.
gone tomorrow.
I mean, he must be like, well, okay, never mind him. But I mean, Room was such a shot stopper, for them, and they got someone better. Immense, and then they got someone better. It just goes by the the mentality mark of this franchise. They don't sit on their laurels. They say, okay, we got a star.
No, they've made moves like we were talking earlier. I mean, a lot of teams have made moves, especially in the Eastern Conference, and looking at, I mean, we know what Nagby did to us. Was it last year or 2 years ago? He got the goal at the death almost.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I mean, yeah, he just, he seems to like kick it into another gear when he plays us, and there are certain players that just seem to enjoy playing against us, and he seems to be one of those guys. He just finds that little extra when he's playing against us. This is, and we do not have a good record playing in Columbus.
No, we don't.
We obviously, we have some serious history with them. We were the Western Conference champions at one time, facing them.
Still trying to figure. People are still trying to figure that out.
How did that happen? Yeah, MLS rules. You just scratch your head and you move on.
Here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing that I talked to the Grand Prix about. It's like, you guys won a conference championship. We did, yeah. Okay.
He didn't even know.
Yeah, I mean, of course he knew, because the damn trophy's sitting in in the club room.
Right.
Put the year up there. I mean, have some pride. You made it to the final.
Yeah, but we didn't make it as the Eastern Conference.
2008. Put that up there just to mess with people. I don't know, but that's something that shouldn't be hidden. But that's just my fan.
Yeah, but like I said, but it's one of those. They are one of those teams we've always had a tough time against them.
Always.
And they have quality players. Obviously, they won the championship last year. I don't see them as pushovers. Even if they don't have their top players, right? Their bench is solid. So, we're not looking at an easy game going in there. If we're lucky, I think we walk out with a draw. Because we don't have that last final, like we have the 3 milk carton guys. The milk carton gang, unless they suddenly decide to start playing well above and beyond what they've shown so far. I just don't see us really going in there and taking this game by the horns. We are the Red Bulls, but but it's sort of like, this is going to be the one that sort of like brings us a little bit back down to earth. For those that are off dreaming about what could happen after 3 games. We're going to see the reality of what this team can and can't do, I think, on Saturday.
There's going to be 2 games, of course, that will actually make that happen. It's Columbus coming up on Saturday, and, of course, Miami when they return home, minus Messi, which is probably the reason why all of a sudden the tickets have gotten cheaper. But we're not going to talk about that until next week. Nick, before we go on to the break, something that you mentioned that caught my eye on the game thread. We talked about how tough this conference is going to be. We know that the team has yet to play any one of the top teams. And we're talking about Philadelphia. We're talking about Cincinnati. We're even talking about Atlanta. Okay. And those guys, and they're and Montreal is, hanging around,
look out.
Yeah. Micah, he just lit up Montreal like there were traffic cones. Okay. So, while this team is finding its legs, you mentioned about missing pieces, not just you, but my man Vincent Escobar. Okay. Say it out there. What's missing with this team?
Depth. We're missing the very important thing is depth. Anybody goes down, we're in trouble. These kids have no time. Mitchell has nothing. Mina has nothing. As who else we got? Hall has nothing. What does he got? 7 minutes of action.
He's not.
These kids.
None of those kids are ready for prime time. Sorry.
The only person you could turn around to and say that has a lot of time on the MLS is Burke, Harper, and Wiki. And Wiki should have done better with that chance he had. I don't know if Forsberg hit it and he got confused if Forsberg was going to take it. Because on the replay you saw that either Forsberg touched it and he didn't know what to do and he just landed right on his foot. And he's like, "Oh, I got to shoot." I got to shoot. And he shut up.
Striker.
And yeah, well, that's what you need.
Yeah. I mean, so right now, so it's same song, different verse, and people want to know why I'm somewhat critical of this franchise, because where every team got stronger, we had opportunities and did not. And what I'm really afraid of is that the fan base's psyche is so fragile that the second we go into a tailspin, they're going to start jumping off the GWB. But I don't think that, no, I'm not saying they're suicidal, but that's how it is. We're at one. I mean, things are good right now. We're all enjoying the feast. Let's see how we are when we're right in the middle of the famine. And that's going to happen when one team exposes us. And that's the thing that I was really concerned about. And now you know why I was very critical on the signings early this year, wondering, okay, this is great, but I'm looking at a bench and I'm seeing question marks when I should be seeing exclamation points. We're going to take a break. When we return, more of your hot takes, more of your comments, and then we get ourselves ready for Columbus. See you back in 30 seconds, guys. And of course, the first hot take comes from, not even a hot take, this is basically his point. And he's been saying this on Twitter as well. Vincent Escobar, I will buy this guy a beer one day. All the forwards on the team can't play by themselves. They need a second forward to play with them. And with Dante now injured, got to check and see if he is that so. Again, when was the last time, when did this guy ever was healthy enough to play? Every time I turn around, he's injured. Manuel going to do little. We'll be lucky if any of them score 8 goals. Well, they'll be lucky to score. Vincent, they'll be lucky if they score a goal with this crew. This is why I'm a little concerned about that. I'm a little concerned about the depth on this team. You can't have someone like Forsberg and then that's it. Okay, anybody remember back in the days, guys, when we had Thierry Henry and the team that they wrapped them around with? A bunch of ham and eggers, a couple of stars here or there, and kids. Okay, so we can't have a squad like that and expect to win titles. Maybe that happened. Maybe that was the formula in years past. But now, you need a crew. You need a squad. Okay, you need a bench to come in case Plan A fails. You got a sizable Plan B, and right now, the Plan B for the Red Bulls and hope and prayer. I'll ask you guys: is that a winnable strategy?
No,
okay,
it's
well,
not,
coming from my delusion, yeah, no, it's definitely not a winnable strategy. We're definitely going to need more right now. I kind of had to use the 30 seconds to kind of reorient myself and kind of come back to reality. Unfortunately, as much as I would not want to be in reality right now, that's just kind of how it is. Yeah, we definitely need a lot more, especially up front. Elias, he and Dante had a good link up.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Lanre. Don't get me wrong. I like Van Zier. I like Dante. I like him, but I like him healthy. Okay, where he's much more effective. he's been anything but. Okay,
To say the
hence
least.
why he's in my milk carton. Okay,
Lanre has more injuries than he does have goals. That's the
there
problem.
you go. Okay, Lisa Voltino, hello, sweetheart. Considering that a year ago I was asking us if it was time to hit the panic button, remember that? I'll take the great start to the season. Yeah, the great start to the season is great, Mark. But as you just alluded to, there's holes, man. There's holes where we're going to
Oh,
get
I
exposed
know,
here.
and that's like I said, that's but when we were talking about you're talking about not having youth. Frankie's been with the team for several years now. He's finally starting to show us what we thought he was going to be a couple years back. That's why Cincinnati drafted him first.
Yeah,
He was the first overall draft pick. There's a reason why.
they were high on him. They were high on him.
That's
He
why.
was the
That's why
future.
every time we go
Pissed
to
off every
Cincinnati,
last one of them on the
Yeah,
orange and
exactly.
blue when he said, "Nah, I'll go to the Red Bulls."
well,
I mean, oh boy.
and they were happy to see him leave at the time. So they didn't think
Until
much
he
of
scored
him.
against them.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's and then of course the fans turned on him.
But he didn't celebrate, unlike a certain other ex-Red Bull.
Yeah, well, we know a certain one that caused problems last year in the playoffs, but
Damn near
you know,
caused a
you
riot.
can't trust
And then
guys
his
from
teammates
Clifton.
followed suit.
Yeah, you can't trust guys from Clifton. That's what I've heard. But like we talk about the guys that we have, and this is something that we haven't touched on yet. I know Miami's almost 2 weeks away. We're going to have an interesting scenario develop, and Garry, I could see he knows where I'm going with this. Since our number 2 goalkeeper is currently injured, and our number 1 goalkeeper will be off playing with his club or his country, excuse me. My buddy AJ Marcucci is going to get his first MLS start. Is my take on this,
and that's where I'm going to be holding my breath
because he's playing against Miami. And
yeah,
they don't have Messi, but they have enough. It's going to be interesting.
Mr. Suarez is going to be
patrolling.
Yeah. So when you talk about backup, AJ's a solid guy. I mean, I've watched him for several years playing with 2. But to sort of throw him to the wolves for his first start, it's
which I don't like. I'm sure that he's going to. I think I'm sure
he'll
he
rise
is going
to the occasion. Yeah.
It's like he's going to swim more than sink.
Well,
but
we'll see. But like I said, this is going to be one of those moments. All right, and we're only that's going to be the 5th game of the season, and we're already going to be testing our bench, with that regard. And I mean, listen, I know people love Ryan. My son walked him out several times at 2 games. I love the guy, and I don't, he just has not stayed healthy for his entire career. And we talk about guys who are constantly injured. Well, Ryan is one. As long as he's on the bench, he doesn't seem to get injured. But let him do too much in practice, and he comes up with an injury. It's like either the groin, the knee. It keeps repeating with him. Why did Robles get his starting position? Ryan Mira got hurt.
Yep.
That's how long Ryan's been with this team. So
he's making $300,000 just sitting around.
Listen, somebody could pay me $300,000 to sit on the bench.
He's got the best job behind the.
Hell yeah!
He's Eli Manning's backup was the best job in the planet. He never got to play, and he got millions. This guy, Mary's got the same thing.
Yeah, Vincent,
Nicholas, to your point, Vincent Escobar once again. Man's been spitting on fire this way. The only negative to the right side is fragile. Kyle Duncan, you mentioned this guy. What are you doing? He's a liability and should not be a starter. Well, anybody know where we can able to get a decent right back for a song? Let me know.
Dylan played well in Nashville. Let's give him some credit.
Yes,
he did. Dylan did play, and he did smart enough to realize that after Cornell made that save on the header to clean that ball out of there, and to make sure nothing else happens.
If
he's a spot player, I'll take him. If he's an everyday player, we're not.
We haven't spoken his name a lot, and we should. Okay, and there's Sandro Schwartz, the new head coach, and he's the 20th head coach, by the way, of this franchise. It basically just let you know how that revolving door keeps spinning every so once in a while. But a lot of how the team is looking very comfortable and smooth on the ball and off the ball is a tribute to him. So let me ask all of you guys, especially guys listening in the podcast, do you think how the team has been going on and making everyone excited and everything else is a tribute to him as opposed to, well, let's see, Troy and maybe Struber?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, in comparison to is what I'm saying.
Yes, in comparison, yeah, absolutely. There's no question about it. He's implementing his style of play, and he's definitely got more of the personnel needed to implement his style of play properly than someone like Troy or Struber ever did. But
Troy was thrown into the mix and said, "Okay, make this work," and he almost did.
Thrown to the wolves. He almost did.
And he almost did. And I was I raised my eyebrows when he left, and I even raised my eyebrows even higher when he went to DC. I'm like, okay. You do know that they have a higher threshold, they have a lower threshold of failure than you do here in New York, right? Just putting it out there, but
I mean,
good luck to him. But
it would have confused me on that.
Yeah, but
well, they didn't make the playoffs last year, so I mean, you got to think about they're sort of looking at it as the glass is half full. So I mean,
that's glass half full.
Listen, well, look,
there's glass half full.
There's a guy on your wall back behind you there, who is a former coach of ours, and he's got no job nowhere, and he's not going to have a job anywhere. I mean, I know he posted up they saw him at the gym. Well, it was great that he's still working out and stuff, but he ain't coaching anywhere.
He burnt way. I mean, he burnt way too many bridges than calling a referee a bad word.
But I think Sandro has been. He's definitely shown that he wants to play his style, and I think that we have the personnel to play that style of play. Our guys are learning how to play with the ball at their feet. And having Forsberg in the mix is definitely adding some confidence to our players. And he's raising the level. Like we talked about how Messi coming into the league was going to affect the league. And Miami's owner just keeps saying, oh, spend more money, spend more money. Some teams don't have the budget or don't spend the budget.
Nope.
Whereas we bring in Forsberg, who's already played 10 plus years in our system. He knows how to play and drink soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And he's coming here and
wanted to come here.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. Wanted to come here.
That's a credit to him.
He did.
I mean,
he's very happy.
In his attitude, he shows when you've all seen the interview that I posted up in the group. It shows his attitude is infectious, and it's and it's building within the team. They are rallying around him like a certain guy, that we used to love and love, and he's not, in the squad anymore. Henry was, how should I say, aloof for a Frenchman, but then he took the team and said, all right, let's go. Okay, I'll show you how to win. Okay. And so he's definitely a leader. Now he tried to, dovetail that into coaching, and it didn't work so well. I love this. I love what Forsberg is doing. He's definitely officially the club's ambassador. Do we want to see more players of his ilk? Well, of course we do. And I'm hoping that, the front office aren't done with shopping. Okay. Keep dialing those numbers, keep looking for people, because right now starting this weekend, starting this weekend, you're going to run into a buzzsaw, and that buzzsaw has got 3 stars above their crest. Good luck. We're hoping, of course, we're going to talk about, of course, the predictions, and of course, a certain Lanre Badmus has got the lead of all the dogs here. I didn't mean. Yeah.
I should have won Saturday because I said 2-0, and it should have been 2-0.
Well, I'm in last place. Because I didn't win a game yet, so that's all. Of course, John Amaral. We won 2 games deservedly. Hit the woodwork 3 times against Nashville, and countless other chances. True. True. Like I said, we've been talking about 3 points instead of 1 if A, we didn't hit the woodwork so blasted much, and B, their goalkeeper didn't get getting his mitts on 2 point blank range shots. Okay. One of them from Forsberg, kept him in the game. Joe Willis. He's no scrub as a keeper. No, there's a reason why they chat Joe says no, because he saves balls in so many cases, saves their bacon. But he was definitely he was one guy keeping keeping him in the game. What about the other chances that they had and flubbed their line? Sure, it was one game. Of course, the first, we're not going to kill them so much. But you know what they say, right, guys? Mistakes you make in the spring, you're going to pay for it in the fall. And that's the thing I don't want this team, to find out the hard way, okay? Where we're all looking at it, we're in October and we're flipping the pages back to March and go, remember this game that we should have won? There we go.
Could have, should have the first game of the year.
I don't want the fan base to go through that. But that's why I'm turning up the heat as far as the expectations on this team.
Are we going
to saying this is something you guys already brought home? We already have like 7 guys on the injury list. We do. It's insane that the medical staff can't keep anybody healthy. My girlfriend is like saying this. Maybe it's not the medical staff. Maybe it's your system that's basically running these guys to the ground. She brings out all the time. You said, my beloved Liverpool, we play the same system as your guys, but I don't see any of your guys. You see our guys, getting hurt. And this is where I shoot at Lanre. I'm like, honey, we're talking about Liverpool.
Yeah.
$1 billion club.
It's not even
billion.
Fair, man. It's
Would
not
it
even
be?
Fair.
Not even no, stop. I said, stop, honey. Stop. She's definitely one of those Euro
that
snobs.
30 deep. Liverpool's what, 30
they got
deep?
Teams, plural. Teams. Not team. Teams.
Come on.
They played teams in the League Cup final against Chelsea and then somehow won.
It's in the C squad in those matches.
30 deep. Jeez.
Like, that's basically it. So, I'm loving what I'm seeing. Let's put a cap on this. We're loving what we're seeing. So far, so good. But we want more.
Yeah, exactly.
We want more. We want more.
Are we gonna address the elephant in the room yet?
We address it now. Somehow this came under the radar, but not unnoticed by everyone in the group, and this is why we love you guys so much. There is a rumor going around in the interwebs, basically from the same dude that also threw this rumor that how we got Forsberg, and this one might have legs. So, Mark, I'm going to let you take this one and tell the masses what we're talking about.
All right. For those of you who don't follow Leipzig or any of the other European squads, Timo Werner is probably one of the better players to have come out of Leipzig. He went to Chelsea for a few years, did score
a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
A cup of coffee.
When it's the Champions League.
Yes, he did score double.
Something Arsenal will never win in their lives.
Went back to Leipzig, and now he's on loan to Tottenham. And Tottenham has the option to buy him at the end of this year for next season. And as Miguel,
which they might.
Yeah,
they might. Which they might.
But he is rumored to be wanting to join Mr. Forsberg here in New York. Because he said basically from the gist of what I had read on a couple of different posts was he knows that if he goes back to Leipzig, he's going to be sitting on the bench. And he doesn't want.
They have too much of what he.
That's why
they have long since moved on. Okay,
and he's 28.
If you haven't followed Leipzig, I know a lot of people. Let me just say this: because of the because of the quote unquote cheap and how Red Bull's on focusing on Leipzig and nobody else. Well, Werner can't go back home, as they say, over to Leipzig. They've moved on. Okay, as far as his position is concerned, they're pretty set with the team they got. So it is not out of the realm, folks, that Werner can end up here. Okay, one of the nice things about big names, especially with guys that big players, big name players know each other and stuff like that. Not only the ambassadors, as we've seen Lanre with the Knicks, they're pretty. I mean, they're pretty good when it comes to scouting. Okay, when they see a talent, they can go, this dude can come with me and we can be balling. And it's not like they'll be in the me and the Knicks, and they played together. Remember, they won cups. Now you probably say, they didn't win the Bundesliga Shield.
Well, nobody can.
No, now when you got two teams that pretty much own it, but they did. Yeah. But they did win the PKO the DFB Pokal twice, which is the champion, which is the Open Cup for Germany. They won it twice. If you think people are pissed off about that, imagine this, guys. Every team in Germany was pissed off at Leipzig when they won it, the first one, and then when they won the second one, just to let them know there wasn't a fluke. They just lost their minds. How can this team? I mean,
Leipzig is hated. Absolutely hated.
A lot of people don't realize how hated they are. I mean,
more than
they
Bayern,
are seriously hated. They got cops and supporters making sure they don't throw stuff at these guys. That's how much hated. That's how much hate they get.
Yeah, they have. Not to mention the fans here.
Our fans hate those guys too because they're getting more of the the do re mi than us. But think about it for 1 second. If you got a guy named Forsberg who's down with us and he likes what he sees and he feels, I see a guy that I used to roll with. We can find a nice little home right here. Yo, brother, put a buzz in your ear. Bzz, 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 bzz. Yo,
I'm sure he called over.
I'm sure he called him more than once. I'm sure he did. But this is how these things happen. New York
is cool, man. Come on over.
No, I mean, you got to start. They got some scrubs there that you can just take over. I'm serious. This is how it is. This is how it is. They got some scrubs here. Yo, they got this guy over here.
I can't.
You can take his spot and own it.
I was reading.
Just stay healthy. I'm serious.
As I was,
when you do your negotiation, just bring your price a little down, just a little bit, and you can be the other. You can be the DP. I got this DP thing,
and we have an international.
I'm serious. Think about it.
Yeah,
this is
28.
He's 28. I went up. If he somehow signs with New York, I won't be a bit surprised at how he got here.
Nope,
because I'm sure
he tried working the phone.
He almost tried to get Paulson to come with him. Okay, right. Keep that in mind. Yes. Almost got Paulson.
I thought Paulson was coming.
Huh?
I thought
it was coming. It was a family thing.
Yeah.
No, it was a family thing. Family said, nah. We happy here. Our kids are in school. Nah, that's all right. New York can wait. Maybe you go there as a coach, but right now, we happy here. Leipzig is a very nice place. It's a very nice city. Okay, people are cool over there, so I can understand the wife saying, "Nah, I'm not ready to drag." I mean, when the player goes, the family goes with him. You know how much of a headache that is sometimes. Okay, Werner, he's not married. I think he's got a girlfriend and something like that. I mean,
no, that's exactly.
But so he cool. Girlfriend, hey, Fifth Avenue, Madison Avenue, shop till you drop. Enjoy.
What did I say? Everybody's talking about we need a 9. This could be the 9 we're waiting on.
I'm serious. That's probably how it went. I'm sure that conversation went like that. Hey, brother. I understand that you in Tottenham. Are they giving you a guaranteed spot? No, I don't know. Okay, come here. Let me buzz a little in your ear right here. Yo, the squad I'm in, they need a 9. The 9 they got, scrub.
Sorry.
You can own this and you get a spot and you get blown up because it's New York. I got guys I'm feeding the ball to left and right. You bring this dude over.
I mean, Leipzig owns his rights anyway.
That is true.
Has the option to buy him on loan, but if they don't want to pay,
off to New York he goes. I mean, they'll just say,
"Hey, want to though." I think he just scored yesterday.
Suddenly become,
but like I said,
the wonder kids of this league. I mean, having those two together with their history.
I mean, one can dream, One
Look,
can definitely dream.
Forsberg always knows which way Werner's turning. He knows if he's turning left or right. All right. One of the things I didn't get a chance to mention when we were talking earlier, listening to the radio I always love listening to Harmon and Jolly because they have an interesting take on things sometimes.
Mhm.
I was listening to Steve Jolly, and he doesn't have any hair left to pull out. All right, but he was going to pull out whatever hair he had because he just kept saying it over and over.
We just
Where
lost
is
Linianos, but that's
Oh,
okay.
he was asking. He's like, Manuel, make a run. They're looking for you to make a run, make a move. He just wasn't moving off the ball, and it was like we had the opposite problem with him and Van Zier. The two of them were occupying almost the same space. The previous game, they weren't getting enough separation. So basically, you have two guys running at the same center back.
So do I, Lisa. So do I.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, I like I said, I mentioned it because it comes from a somewhat credible source, but it's all wishful thinking. If Tottenham says we're going to open the checkbook,
Sorry about
There
that.
you are. There you are.
Think Friday.
He
and
dropped.
like I said, if they open up the checkbook and they decide to pay him, they decide to pay him.
All
But if
right, let's be clear on this. Yes, it is a credible source. And
right, but it doesn't
Tottenham,
mean we're getting him.
right. Tottenham basically is in the catbird seat. They can just basically said, you know what? We don't have enough firepower on that side of the ball. Okay, we'll keep we'll keep Werner and pay Leipzig the fee. But but pay attention if negotiations between Werner and of course if Werner and Tottenham can't make that agreement, all of a sudden the door swings open just like that. Door swings open, and maybe, just maybe, we get someone who's in need in that spot. Imagine, guys, how much fun will it be? All right, our last bit of business before we shut things down for the night. Columbus versus New York. What say you? Lanre, you up first. Remember, you got the lead. You're the lead dog now. You got to protect it.
And in true pragmatic fashion, I will go with a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. So you're playing it safe now, aren't you?
Yeah, I was going to go full pessimist and say 2-1 loss, but I'm like, nah.
Nicholas, you represent the guest spot, which is sitting very comfortably in third. What say you?
Unfortunately, this is a Columbus game. Columbus 2-1. I think at least we get on the scoreboard. I don't know. Columbus is too deep. They have enough to really threaten us at all different ways, and we'll find out how really good we are after Saturday.
Mark,
You're
you're just above me right now in the standings.
Well, I'm gonna say we're gonna walk out with a 2-1 loss.
2-1 loss.
I'm gonna have to agree with Nicholas. I think we open some eyes this weekend, and maybe we see all the holes and then Swiss cheese for once. Because it's easy to look at Swiss cheese this way and not see the holes.
I'm leaning in that direction. Knowing how they took care of some teams already. And Chucho Hernandez is no joke. Okay, he slices through defenses like a hot knife through butter. Despite that, the one thing that I like is like our defense got stronger, guys. Okay, with Ellie back there, if they can able to keep that formula intact, and if certain guys step up like Duncan and of course and of course JMI, if they can able to keep that intact, I think we get a goal, but we're going to give up one. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I think we're going to get a point out of all this. They're hungry, and the hunger basically, and they're hungry. I don't want to call. I hope, of course, naturally, when I always preface this as I'm proven wrong. Okay, but what scares me at this point is that we haven't been exposed lately. I think we're going to get that and then some versus Columbus because they're not slouches. They rarely have very few injuries. Despite the fact that they're playing tonight against this Houston, maybe there's going to be fatigue and something like somewhat, but I doubt it.
Actually, that's tomorrow.
Huh? Tomorrow?
That game is
It's
tomorrow.
Tuesday night. They're playing
Tuesday night. I'm sorry. It's Tuesday night, not tonight. Tuesday night.
The time change threw him off.
Yep. Yeah. I was asleep. This is what happens when you sleep at the stadium. Anyway.
Columbus is also it's still a house of horrors for us. It's always been a house.
It's always been that. Okay. The last win we had there was in 2021. The last win we had before that was in 2015. We don't win too many games there. Okay. So think about it. That franchise has had 3 homes. Okay. Ohio Stadium, the first ever soccer specific stadium, Crew Stadium, and now this palatial, state of the art. I mean, from people who have been there, it's a knockout. It's gorgeous. It is a fantastic facility. Kudos to them. I'm not saying Red Bull Arena is, it's an outhouse, but hey, they've had 3 homes.
Philly plays in the outhouse.
Yeah,
that's why they were postponed.
Or they're just soft.
They got 3 homes, but
if you see
that
their
place
field,
is gorgeous.
oh my God, I was laughing.
And in each of those places they played, they at least won a championship. They won 2, of course, at the what they call it now, the historic Crew Stadium. Imagine going to a nice little home and you keep the place that you're at for your 2 team. Yeah, now you can have that place, and it ain't that bad. All they had to do was fix it up and whatnot. So those go ahead.
We will see.
Yeah, we will see what happens on Saturday. Of course, Carlos Cano will be on hand to arm that thread. And next week is a milestone moment here at the podcast, our 100th show. The whole crew is going to be in to celebrate. And of course, you all are invited in this. And the reason for this is because you guys made it happen. We did this show for you guys, and we can't thank you enough for your fantastic support. 100 shows. That's going to happen next week. We'll have a very special guest. We're working on a couple of people. Hopefully they can come along. But it's something that's worth celebrating, of course, when that happens. So, as you hear the music, it's time to put to bed and roll this. Nicholas, you have my thanks, good sir. Always stop by and have a little fun here. For Lanre Badmus, Mark Kotz, and myself, thank you all so much for hanging out with us this weekend. Remember, if you missed the live show, as always, you can catch it, of course, on Spotify.com. Goals.tv will be loaded up after tonight, and of course on Spotify.com. And all those episodes will be uploaded the very next night. To all of the guys who put their comments, to Vincent, Lisa, John, Tom, DM Hunk. This is a new guy.
You're trolls. You're trolls. No, they don't deserve no acknowledgement.
That's it.
I don't even know what the heck
it's like the guys that run naked on the field. You don't even talk about them.
Hey,
Exactly.
I mean, if they trolls, bring it on. I mean, we've been here long enough to deal with them, so they don't scare us. Every last one of you guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you guys next week at our 100th episode. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, good night and goodbye for now.